Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video. Mother steals all my inheritance from my sis because she is golden child with starving baby, but now they can't believe I'm actually suing them. She is a 23-year-old female. I'm an 18-year-old female. Grandma died 8 years ago, and she left more than enough money to pay for all of her grandchildren's college educations, with the following conditions. Don't get arrested, take drugs, get drunk, or get pregnant/get someone else pregnant. Since we were all children at the time, the funds were deposited into accounts in our parents' names. My sister became pregnant during my sophomore year. The baby daddy departed and she hasn't attempted to contact him/get child support, and the stress from that produced a very challenging pregnancy. Both are acceptable. Mom and Dad nevertheless allowed her to attend college as long as she didn't have another commitment and maintained a 3.5 GPAs, which she did. She graduated last December with roughly $2,000 in debt. I assumed her money had been utilized to help raise her child and pay for her pregnancy during the previous 2.5 years, so she had to take out a loan. This looked reasonable. I was sorely mistaken. I was admitted to my ideal college on the other side of the state, but my mother continued trying to get me to go to a cheaper one closer to home so I wouldn't have to live in a dorm and it would be a cheaper school. I questioned her why she was being so persistent. Granny had left plenty of money, I reasoned. They dumped all the money that was meant to go to me down the toilet to take care of my sister, her child, and her pricey pregnancy, which turned out to be a lot worse than I was led to think. I burst into tears and cried harder than I had ever cried before, shouting about how they screwed me up and wrecked my life for the child who screwed up. If I go to school today, I'll be at least $70,000 in debt. I believe this irritated my sister, and she asked me in a very emotional tone whether I'd prefer her be homeless and unable to care for her child, who she reminded me was a live creature, because she didn't have an education/support system just so I could go to college and have a decent life. I responded, yeah, how it's not fair that she gets to screw up, get drunk, and sleep with so many people she doesn't even know who the baby daddy is, something she told me but apparently not mom or dad, and how she keeps violating rule after rule when I haven't even had with my boyfriend, and now I'm the one who has to pay the price. Everything simply continued to devolve into more shouting and fighting until I left. I've been spending the last several days with my boyfriend. I know I shouldn't go anywhere with Rona, but I simply wanted to be with the one person who seems to care about me. Mom has been texting and phoning, pleading with me to come home, claiming that if I can just be fair and not demonize my sister, we can probably work things out. I informed her that unless she had money left over from Grandma, she should not contact me until I have paid off my college debts in 50 years. Is it possible that I went too far? A lot of it was emotional, but I feel screwed over here and like I'm being punished despite the fact that I followed the rules. I've since slept with my boyfriend, since I thought if I'm going to get punished the same way I would if I violated all the rules, I can at least have fun. Edit. I've been contacting sis this morning to attempt to reconcile things with her since I didn't believe it was her fault that mom and dad spent the money. She was informed about it after she graduated and instructed to keep it a secret from me. She has promised to pay for a book or two, but not more since she wants to escape out from under mom and dad's thumb. She'll probably party again since she doesn't disguise how much she misses it. Edit 2. There was a little left after sis finished college and was informed about everything. They decided to put money toward getting her a vehicle so she can go to work, and she agreed. Now I'm upset at all three of them again. Edit 3. I sent the lawyers a copy of the will. He believes that because of the way it was put up, he can't be confident we have a case right now, but there's a decent chance. Edit 4. Lawyer thinks they may have breached Grandma's trust, so he's contacting a trust lawyer buddy to make sure he's interpreting it correctly. Edit 5. Oh, so many edits. Auntie contacted me. She is enraged with my parents. When she contacted to inquire about what was going on, all they did was, in her words, attempt to rationalize it. It turns out that dad and mom offered to pay for an abortion, but sis refused. Understandable, I wouldn't either, but still don't always get what we want. My sis believed receiving government support was a shambles and refused. As a result, mom and dad thought that this was the only way to keep her safe. She claims they are still not sorry, and her mother claims she would do it all over again if she could. And as you can expect, they're furious with me for informing others. But because it's just making others angry, I'm simply giggling at this point. Story 2. Wife's uber religious aunt. In this tale, her Aunt Dory and Uncle Bob are the central characters, not me and my wife. To provide you with some information, my wife comes from a highly conservative Christian religious family with strong values. In order to maintain its instructions to members, the organization required that women refrain from wearing jewelry and that they do not dress in slacks or pants, nor do they clip their hair. My wife does not agree with all of the notions, but she does regard them to be rather puritanical in nature. In addition, she nearly worships the ground on which her Aunt Dory strolls about. Grandma Dory is a rock star at her church. She stands tall and statuesque in the congregation and works on the finance committee in addition to teaching Sunday school. Dory graduated from college with a degree in finance and worked her way through the ranks of a forensic accounting firm in the process. The fact that she works for a company that subcontracts with the government to investigate organized crime is a family secret, but I think she does so. In any case, my story starts years ago, when my wife and I were shopping at a nearby indoor shopping mall when something happened. Aunt Dory emerges from a Frederick's of Hollywood lingerie store with two big, overstuffed bags of clothes, which we see her stuff inside. Garter belts and baby doll nighties are just a few of the items available at this lingerie shop, which isn't your typical lingerie store. It was obviously out of character for a devout matriarch to behave in such a manner. The moment Dory spots us and realizes we are watching her, there is an awkward pause as her face becomes pink. Then she hurries away as soon as she can, saying just hello. When my wife and I hear this, we both laugh a bit, and I half-jokingly say, I hope that was for Uncle Bob. Uncle Bob is the exact opposite of Dory. He's short, round, and devoid of imagination. As long as we've known him, he's been working as a bus driver, and he doesn't seem to be interested in moving up from his current position of 40 hours a week at little more than minimum wage. Consequently, I don't think much more about the chance meeting, but it seems that my statement annoyed my wife. It doesn't take long before she's announcing to me that she'll be having lunch with Aunt Dory this coming Saturday. They have left, my wife has returned home, and I have a strong sensation that something is amiss. She seems to be gloomy, forlorn, and melancholy, and she does not say much. After a few days, my wife finally tells me what happened. A close-knit team of people, including an old gentleman from one of the alphabet organizations, was working on a case that took many late hours, according to Aunt Dory's account. Dory and him were having a love relationship, and one night she cheated on Uncle Bob in front of everyone in the conference room. Aunt Dory was overcome with remorse and rushed home to inform Bob of what she had accomplished. It was her explanation for informing my wife of the whole murky story that she believed 15 minutes of passion were not worth ruining her life, marriage, and suffering eternal damnation. This is the point at when the story takes an unexpected turn. Uncle Bob did not divorce her. Rather, he gave her an ultimatum, which she accepted. Dory and Bob were evidently not intimate with each other very often, and Bob came to the conclusion that if he wanted to stay with Dory, she would no longer be able to say no. Of course, my lecherous imagination turned this into a circumstance where I could get away with it. Bob also counseled Dory that she should spice up the bedroom by acquiring provocative apparel and modeling it for him on a regular basis.